let's talk about something very relevant at this point in time. For the past month, light is being shine on a topic that was never not there, but that has reached a new extent in the way we relate. And it is impacting the masculine and the feminine, and therefore the couple and families around the world. I'm talking about things that are happening or being made visible in Germany and in the US around digital violence and around something that is called rape academies. We are talking about abusive, not strangers, but husbands, partners, boyfriends, people that are close, so close and trusted to the feminine. I spent the last week feeling my own rage, feeling other people's rage, feeling questions around how do we ever talk to the masculine again? I talked to the masculine, I talked to men coaches, and it's almost like, oh yeah, what is shown to us is our lack of words, our um, inability to express the anger, the rage, the unfathomable reality, um, and also like lack of, well, how do we continue from here in a world where legislation has not caught up on that? And also just because of legislation, it doesn't necessarily change that there is people who desire to behave a certain way. And so working with relationships, I sit here and wonder, okay, what do I do with this? How do I create safety for the feminine and the masculine? How do I hold the shadow and the light? And that is what I want to talk about. And that is something that I want to pitch and share something new here as well. Because for years, friends, family, no, not family, friends and clients have been asking me to do something with my background, my experience, and also my already existing teachings when it comes to conversations around eros and better sex. Um, it is something that is part of every relationship coaching, but it is not something that I necessarily want to write on my flag. I'm not your go-to um, sexual therapist or intimacy coach. I work on the relationship holistically, and intimacy, touch, sexuality, changing the paradigm how we look at this is part of a couple's coaching journey. But it is not, my primary focus. However, with this constellation at the moment and the energy around it, I do feel I want to open a container to keep the conversation going and to lead the conversation from the shadow into the light, making use of the rage that is there, and seeing how to bring masculine and feminine together to create it into something or to transform it into something meaningful in the one couple that ultimately ripples and impacts friends and society around them. In that, I am looking at an initial soft launch container for what I call better sex. Um, It starts where she leads. So I'm really looking at working with the feminine, and working with women who want to understand the dynamics, the mechanics, the language around sexuality and anything that starts really within her. She is the vessel for creation. And ancient traditions, ancient civilizations knew that the conversation starts with the empowerment of her. um, this is something where movies and stories have told us that, she surrenders and that he creates the safety in the bedroom, when really she is the one who is opening up. She is the receiving vessel, and she is the connection between earth and spirit. So much is happening inside of her. Um, And what I see in clients, what I see in modern couples is, let's say, if you want to have the 10x kind of love that involves also, your healthy, fulfilling sexuality, it starts with her being in her power and with her taking leadership about her body, her boundaries, her words, her expression, her desires, her yeses, her nos. And from there, everything else grows and builds. And in that, with oftentimes him being physically stronger, um, the more safety and stability she has in herself and trusts her yeses and her nos, the more he can lean into that and lead from there. Um, it is with her knowledge, with her understanding, that she helps him understand how to move, where to go with this, what is okay, what isn't. And ancient civilizations, therefore, would train already girls to, on their way on growing to become a woman, on the pathway too. They would support them to understand, really know how their body works, how their energy works, how to seduce in a conscious way, how to influence in a direct or indirect way, how she energetically sets boundaries or signals availability, dependency, or even the very firm boundaries. So it all starts with her. Really, she brings that energy. And so in this container, I'm looking at a 3 month first off container where we start with the feminine. In this container, I encourage, if you have a partner, if you have a masculine partner, you can bring him, but she vouches for him. So men cannot sign up on their own. They need a woman to say, yes, he belongs into this container. He is a man who subscribes to feminist principles, who know that feminism is something that stands for sacred union, is something that stands for masculine and feminine together, not against each other. We want him to be able to ground himself. We want him to be able to work with us on the conversation, not because it's against him, but it is addressing a topic that is going on around the world. So in this container, this is not a one-off course. It is more so using the time that we are in, the challenges that we are facing, to turn them into opportunities that invite us to learn, understand, grow, find language, evolve, create new consciousness, do that together. Imagine you have two people, when they have a conversation about new things that are happening in their world, something magical happens, which is both of them usually see a new gestalt, something that comes out of that conversation that wasn't there before. So that is what we are aiming for with us together. This is such a rich time where three women really share their story. So in Germany, it's Colleen Fernandez. For CNN, it is reporters who went in and wrote the articles, who risked, their reputation, their life, all the confrontation, for us to be able to have a conversation now about this. And I want to be very clear, like, this is a privilege that we even get to see this and talk about this. Not every country has the legal backing or the media structure that this one would even get attention. This is happening, like, abuse and violence has been around since probably Adam and Eve. And it is not in every country, in every political regime, in every society that this even gets to be spoken about by the public. So the fact that this is now here in our field, it's a privilege. It's heartbreaking. It is disastrous. It brings out all the confrontational emotions. It challenges society. It distracts us from other things in the world. But it is really something that touches up on the core of your home. And in a complex world where you feel like, what can I do to influence a war on the other side of the world? This is something where you have instant, immediate influence on, be it for yourself, be it for your environment, be it for your relationship, be it for others, be it for the sons and girls that you raise. And it all starts with in society, we lack teaching our youngest about their bodies, their mechanics, their understanding, their boundaries, their worth, and also from there understanding the other gender in that way. Um, it's almost like the sacredness of this whole energy has gone. Sexual energy is not just any random commodity. It is treated as such. It's treated as a dopamine hit when really it is the strongest energy. It's life creating energy on planet Earth. It is in ancient civilization known to be sacred and holy, known as something that is practiced with reverence and that can be harnessed to be a source for creativity, for birthing of new projects, for access to speak with the divine, for psychedelic experiences, for healing, um, for conversations and with the divine, with God, with time, beyond time and space. It is known as such. And somehow we managed as society to put it all into a dirty, vulgar corner that you need to censor, that you cannot even speak about, that your reputation is destroyed if you touch it, that is, shamed and hidden in places. And really, it's the most sacred act and most transforming energy out there. It's breaking my heart that I don't know if this even reaches people because the algorithm might block it. It's like, ask any of these things to an AI and they will not give you ancient wisdom. They will not give you information that push you forward. No regime or institution has an interest in having healthy, sexually active, safe, sound civilization because would unlock powers they don't even know exist. They don't even feel in their body. And so better sex starts where she leads. I'm inviting a small group of women that is ready to look at the power and the energy and the mechanics around the sacred union, that potentially want to bring their partner. You can be in a relationship, you can be a single. Either way, this is working on your relationship dynamics. You're shifting your paradigm around the sacred union and sexuality that is dealt with as a performance act, misunderstood in so many ways. And what I want to do is we will have a monthly masterclass with active Q&A to engage in the conversation of what is currently going on. I will share wisdom and teachings and trainings from my over a decade year-long trainings in the tantric realm from former Osho students, in the wisdom from native tribes, from African tribes, from different tribes that had reverence and brought dignity to love making. I will share language, vocabulary, visuals, anything that helps our brain rewire in a way that we have access to this energy. There is so much shame around it. We will work on that. We will work with emotions and nervous system regulation and expression. We will have a breathwork session on sacred rage and how to use it to fuel creative expression rather than feed what we really don't want to see in the world. I encourage conversation, but also if you don't want to participate in a group program, you have access to the recording and you get the tours without making yourself known and seen. I, however, do want to know who is joining. So I will have a question sent to everybody who is joining. You cannot just purchase it. I want to know who is joining. And what else? What else? I think this is more or less it. I am very excited to bring this out there. I am looking also at collaborating or bringing in some experts in the field. I'm looking at a Q&A or an interactive session with a male coach, a male man coach, to have the conversation between the masculine and the feminine, and also translate like here we are, like we want men to engage with this, but somehow they shy away from this topic. Like we want to understand that better, and we want to see how men coaches can also do the translation in a way to reach men. So that is something I'm looking at. Um, yeah, let me just tag the website that is just launched for waiting list, and more content is going to come out in the next days. Very excited about this. I know that it's going to attract like-minded, solution-oriented, proactive, powerful people that are craving to find paradigm shift, access to new energy, new radiance. It is. I will not allow for this to just go into the world of shadow and even more shame, but also call it out. So here we are. Thanks for listening. Please, any questions, reach out. I look forward to do this.